What we're going to do now is a palmar or a volar kind of resting hand splint that doesn't actually pass over the wrist. So I'm just going to use that for the MCP and basically fingers. My pattern basically looks like that, and I will once again use the textile. What I have here is a loop surface on the top that actually allows me to use a small hook to test my pattern. And as you can see here, this one fits very good for the fingers. It's going to be attached with the thermoplastic on the top, and on the volar side basically the thermoplastic will go down. So the material that I'm choosing for this application is the IMMO Plus. I use a 2mm and I use a maxi perforation in that case for more ventilation. So my pattern is prepared, cut like this. So we will just position the patient. Make sure that we have little bit of flexion in the MCP, PIP and DIP. So we immerse that into the water. So now the material is ready. We'll remove it carefully from the splint pan. Make sure to apply it quickly on the towel like that. Then we move it up on the patient like this. We attach the material so it actually sticks on the top side, and then we will carefully position that onto the patient. It looks a little bit. So now the thermoplastic is stable. As you can see, I have a little bit of support over the thenar eminence. I will still adjust that. On the ulnar side, I have a little bit of a rim going up. On the volar side, I have the same. And basically, it doesn't compress the MCP. The thermoplastic basically goes directly under the MCPs. So our volar-based resting hand splint made from multi-perforated IMMO, we will now do the edging tape. And I could literally just fold that or round that edge, but I don't like it because when we have a multi-perforated it becomes quite sharp. So instead what I will use is I will use a turbo strip. And with the turbo strip one, I will cut that down into round about 10mm. That is enough. Usually the way I do this is I cut them down in smaller strips, and then I use my scissor, and then I basically run the strip basically like this, so it becomes pure plastic on the back side. And it's quite difficult to make the complete splint in one piece. So I prefer to divide that into 2-3 different strips. And I will do that basically from momentum to momentum. Make sure that the material where you actually connect two strips together becomes very smooth. And I'll show you how to do that later on. So before you start doing the edging tape, it is very important that the splint actually is well fitting, that there's no areas that are actually too high, because once you put this on, it's more difficult to actually do any adjustment. So try your adjustment before. What we do then is we can't heat the complete strip at the same time. So we start basically by heating around about 10 centimeters of the strip. Now that one is hot, then I will position that. And the longer the strip is, the more difficult it is for you to actually position that. So what I do now is I just go in and position side by side. And then I fold that into place of the splint like this, covering the edge so it becomes very smooth. Make sure that you press on the inside to get that really smooth kind of surface. And if you want, you can add a little bit of water, and then you basically polish the surface with the water also. That works really well. Now my strip is actually warm until this side here, so now I have to do a little bit different technique. I have to basically heat the strip, but without heating my complete splint. So I continue another 10 centimeter. Position that, stretch, attach. Continue to fold, position like that. Now to the last part. This is a little bit of a tricky area because there is a quite big risk that I might actually heat my splint, so I have to be quite careful when I do this. Luckily the material is quite thin, so it heats very, very quickly. So just apply that over the edge like this. Continue up, and then once I'm close to that edge, then that will be enough. Just I'll have that part in one solid piece, and it's very, very smooth. And if I want to additionally smoothen that one, I could basically immerse that into the water and then continue. So what I've done now is I have basically stripped the complete edge, so it becomes very, very smooth. If you would have any areas that you feel is a little bit rough and you want to smoothen that additionally, you can basically just immerse the splint into the water. So just hold it there for a few seconds. Then you basically remove it, and then you can actually start polishing that. Then it becomes even smoother in that case. Most of the times I don't do that. I think it's enough what I've done in the application. So, as you can see now, there is no more sharp edges from the multi. It becomes very, very smooth and comfortable for the patient. So what we will do now, we will attach a strap here. We will have basically the hook closure on the side there, and we laminate the strap here, and then we use a wider strap basically to hold the fingers onto the platform. So what we will do next now is actually apply, so we have one strap holding the splint together behind the MCPs. And the way that I will do that is I will use a self-adhesive hook, and that self-adhesive hook I literally just apply onto the application like this. I could, if I want to have an absolute secure, I can do that thermoplastic kind of welding around, but in this case I don't think it's necessary. Then I would basically apply the strap here, and this strap here I want the patient always to pull from that side. And here I will actually do that thermoplastic kind of welding. First thing I do is I melt a little bit of that loop side of the strap so it actually becomes a little bit more narrow. Then I will fold it like that. Just make a small cut, like an opening. And that will be my position for the rivet in that case. Then what I do is I spot heat this one very quickly. Position the strap in place. And I can try the direction on the patient to see that it actually fits the hook. And now what I have to do is I have to weld this. And I will weld it basically using a turbo strip. In this case I don't need that wide, so I will cut it down just in order for it to cover the material. I remove the foam on the back side with my scissor, and then I just heat that. Position it over the strap like this, just stretch, and then I work the thermoplastic into the surface. Make sure that it covers both of the sides of the strap, and then hold the finger basically exactly where the hole is. So thermoplastic meets thermoplastic. In that case, I have now an application that I can actually pull directly over there. It will secure my splint. But I also need a strap to hold my fingers in place. And the way I do that is I will use a low profile hook that I will attach on the inside of the platform. Make sure that you try this, so the hook part should be directly under the PIP and then cover up to the DIP. Position it there, press, and it actually catches the color of the surface material. What I will do now is actually I made a special kind of strip that is wider here, narrower here. I made a cut through into the material. And what I will do is I will attach it like this onto the platform. Then I will run that material just in front of the MCP, and then I will attach a low profile hook with a loop on the top side, so a patient can actually attach it and apply that to the strap. And then the second one, basically going on the finger side, do the same thing. What I have to do sometimes is I have to adjust the length of the strap. And this can be fairly easily done. Either you decide to cut that strip further in, and then you get more compression on that one to remove that crease. Or you do it simply basically two different straps. See, if I cut further into the material now, almost to the end, now I have more elasticity in that direction. I can change that direction of the strap as well. Do the same thing again, applying that onto the surface. Go with a wider strap, like this. Attaching it onto the strap itself. Now it provides very good compression to the PIP. And then I go with the other strap, and now I can angle that one down and further attach. So the wider strap, we basically go from this side over the PIP just in front of the MCP, apply a little bit of compression, and then attach the strap to that. And then in order to have that DIP, then I basically do the same thing, attach the strap with a little bit of an angle, then go around like this, attach, basically go around. I have a very, very stable kind of good dorsal compression. I have the volar plate and the support. Now our volar resting hand splint is also ready. We applied basically the edging tape, we did the hook and the straps, so now we're ready to fit it. So I apply it basically like this. Just under the metacarpal, I use this strap with a little bit of tension just to keep it in place, so I get a very good compression here. And then I close the straps, basically going over the PIP, also covering the DIP. I can also make this one wider if it would be necessary.